with. So looking forward to seeing how it goes. We might be pausing and stuff periodically and all that stuff, but yeah. We'll see how things go and give some tips and tricks as we go along.
Okay. Now this goes.
Oops. All right. Of course, I would fast forward right before you hit new game. All right, Terra's a nice start. GP Rain, Capture, and Sketch. So GP Rain is kind of the thing right now. All right, let's see where we go. All right, yeah, not bad. So I think we had discussed it before, but typically with a Terra start, a lot of the just a lot of people in general will start their airship will start right about here. They'll sort of fly up this way and head straight to Sealed Gate due to the density of chests there. Whereupon they will finish there, maybe go to Albrook, maybe go up to Zen, and then decide if they want to do South Figaro at the end. It is a matter of preference. Going to returners is fine as well. So let's see if it pays off for you. It's just the sheer amount of checks that you find in Sealed Gate in one location, not to mention the fact that it's on the way to a check, is just massive. But what are we looking for here? We are looking for some shields for some level 2 magic. We would like to find an Esper in maybe a free check somewhere. We have Shadow, so we can look at Gao's dad's house and consider finding something there. An Esper with some good level 2 or level 3 magic would be nice. Big Stick, because we do have Terra already available to us. She's a natural user of Ragnarok, Illumina, Atma. So if we could find one of those... Wow, this guy does not like you. So if we could find one of those, preferably a Ragnarok or an Illumina, we can get going pretty quickly with Terra, especially if we can find a Atlas Armlet, Hero Ring, or I guess out of desperation a Hyper Wrist, or maybe a Gauntlet too. Okay, well, I mean, just right off the gate, finding some Warp Stones is nice. Already from last time we spoke, I can see you're a little bit more willing to sell, which is a good thing, just a good habit to be in. Obviously, you don't want to go overboard. I see you're not selling your elixirs, which I think is good. So one thing, we had mentioned it before, but one good thing that you can sort of work on in every single run is strafing your airship. So, you know, you'll fly to it. First of all, you can use your shoulder buttons to move fast. I think it's R1. You just hold that down and turn, and you'll do a really sharp turn to kind of line your flying up, and then go to where you're going. And then you can hit the on my controller on Super Nintendo, it's the X button, so the one on the left. You can hold that and then move around, and your airship will strafe. Ideally, every time you land, you'll be somewhere that you can walk one step to. In this case, I tend to aim right here, and it makes it so I can walk like right into it. And then when I pop out, I'll be right at the airship already, and I can just smash A and fly back up again. So something to practice with each run is a sort of airship accuracy and getting used to the strafe mechanic. That way you don't have to walk at all to get into the town or out of the town. Well, rather, you don't have to walk to get back to your airship when you exit. Gross. Earrings are nice. I don't know that we have a lot to sell except for elixirs for them right now. I think that's probably a good idea. I assume you're going to do the basement. So hopefully we find some loot down there that we can sell that's not elixirs or your Moogle suit. Okay. It's good to have around. Sweet. Dried meat's good. No Gao yet, but if we get them, we definitely don't want to have to go hunting for it. I still appreciate that you buy 2 of them. And Magus hats were there, but there's not a huge reason to buy them at the moment. One thing we can consider doing, so if I go back in here, sort of a habit I have is maybe in a seed like this, we'd be considering something like a Coliseum play at some point, which that really benefits from having a lot of things in your inventory. So just buying some shurikens while you're here, 1, 2, 10, whatever, will give you just one extra thing that might be able to pop up at the Coliseum. I have a habit of doing that, especially if I see shurikens. And if I get a thrower later, I already have some stuff to throw if needed. Rods are good. We know where earrings are, so having some rods is always a great way to get through some early checks. You can even use them to blast through some early grind fights, which sometimes happens in low offense seeds. You might just need to get through your first grind. You can pop a rod, hopefully get something a little more stable in terms of offense by doing so. And one thing you may be being careful about in general in terms of certain checks is, not wanting to push your scaling too high early. We got 2 free checks, so you might go and get the shadow check over at Gao's dad's house, but you might also be avoiding it due to the low offense. But on the other hand, GP Rain can really carry you pretty far early. It's not the best skill in the world, but as long as you have some money, then you just have the ability to do decent defense ignoring damage. And it can really carry you for your first few fights while you're trying to maybe get some magic. The Aegis Shield is nice. You have plenty of defense. We got, Moogle Suit, we got Aegis Shield. So we're looking pretty good on that front for early. So what I'd probably do right here is go ahead and go straight to the back inside and at least get 2 earrings. Well, at least get 1 because of the fact that you already picked 1 up. But I know that most likely in each seed I'm going to use 4, so if possible I would just pick up 3 more, so I'm prepared to have another magic caster as well. Perfect. That is exactly what I would have done. They're so valuable, you're pretty much never going to have a seed where you just don't need 4 earrings. It's incredibly rare, unless you just come across one that have nothing but giant weapons. Ah, there's that strafe. All right. Okay. So then, since you do know how to do that, just keep practicing it, and just practice lining up next to a town. Find a spot that you can pinpoint each time, and just aim for that each time you land. So you're just looking for a spot that you can hit each time that's going to put you right in front of the town. All right, so ice rods. With this kind of start, I would sell the house for like 3 or 4 of those. The main reason being your offense is it's not very good, right? So ice rods really can carry bosses early. They're not the best rod in the world, but they get the job done. That, and you had a few things to sell as well. You could probably spare an elixir and maybe a little bit of some other stuff that you've picked up, but maybe you're intending to go back after you get some more loot. So that was a terrible basement. This is something that's maybe not that big of a deal. It's a little bit meta, but it's something just to keep in mind since as you get better in this game, your routing is going to make a big difference. So I actually did a time comparison with some Mega Elixir players and found an ideal route that maybe you want to incorporate in. So you go down and over here, loot, 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 right? Then you come down here and you loot, loot, and go down here and loot. After that, you're going to go up, over, and you can loot, go over, loot, down, loot, loot, over here, loot, and then you go loot, loot. It's a little silly, but it is just like it minimizes the amount of movement and it gives you multiple times in which you get 2 chests at a time without having to move. So you're really trying to minimize the amount of pivoting and moving and turning that you're doing, and it's just a good way to do it. And then, of course, after that, you just kind of boop, head right out. So something to keep in mind. Again, it's very meta. Maybe will save you, 3 seconds, 2 seconds or so. But, every little bit counts. I actually learned all that from Golden Shocker. I had my own route and he had his, and I tested both, and his was better. So now it's the one that I do as well. GP rain money. Or rod money, I guess. Okay, well, you know the bridge trick. That's good. I agree with skipping that chest down there and just kind of fading the ones that are too far away. I mean, you're already 47 chests deep, so, you're not hurting for loot. But one thing I might have considered is before coming here, I might have gone and, checked Shadow's check. So I would have done, him right there, Gal's dad's house. I would have gone there just to hope that there was an Esper. And since I've already got loot and things like that and money and everything else, I could go, up here. I could check the loot in there and then use the save point. And then you can pull this lever and it's a repeatable battle. So a little ninja will like drop down and you have a fight there. So you can get off level 3. And ideally at Gal's dad's house down there, you would have gotten an Esper. And that at least gives you the ability to possibly learn something off of it. Just something to consider. I usually won't bother doing that if I came here first, but since you've already done all of your looting, it wouldn't have been a bad idea just to go ahead and knock it out. See if you can get off level 3 before you go anywhere else. Okay, free rod's nice. Force shield's nice. Ribbon is nice. Striker's nice. Good lord, that was a money cave. Money, money, money. That room looked a lot like ice rods to me. Because your offense is still trash. Hero ring's nice. Yeah, your long-term offense is looking pretty bleak, so we need good short-term offense from rods. But we got 2 right now, which is good. We got no shields, so we're really kind of leaning on looting something or getting an Esper that doesn't suck. Or just, like, leaning on rods all day long. You can also consider the Zen Thief. Could be something good there since it's a high-tier item. I don't necessarily think you should have done it there because you don't have a ton of warp stones. You have the regular 5, but if you ever have an excess, you can actually warp out and save yourself a few seconds. So once you get your loot, just pop in your menu, slam a warp stone, and you're out. All right, so heading that way. All right, couple Magicites. So we do hope that we have something decent. There is one thing I want to talk about, and it's something that I see that you don't do very often, and that's that while you're airship flying, avoid like traversing the whole map to go somewhere when you could just as easily go from here, go straight down to right there. It is much faster that way, about half the distance from clearing the whole map all the way up. So just keep in mind, anytime you can, you can take a look at your map down here and just kind of gauge it in your head. Like, let's say you're like right here. It wouldn't make sense to fly all the way down here if you were going to, let's say, Burning House. You would want to, leave Kolingen for whatever reason. You can zip down that way and then sort of fly down there. And it's a much shorter distance. So always sort of try and be mindful of, can you route your airship travel a little faster? Or more efficiently, because you're in your airship a lot. So if you can get to a place faster every single time, it is just clear time gain every single time you do it. So now I'm curious to see where you are going to head to, because we got a few options. I want to see what your espers are. Hopefully you're going to check them. All right, we're hoping for some ballers here. That's not ballers. Tier 2 is okay. We like to have heals. And that's also not good. All right, so what are we relying on now? We are now stuck relying on either rods or GP Rain, which is not great. So what options would we have at this point? We would want to maybe check the Zen Thief. And if you're worried about the money you spend on it, you can save outside of Zen, run in there and loot it. If it's something like a Dragon Horn that you can't use, you can just leave it there and not worry about it. If it's something really good, like an Illumina or a Ragnarok, that gives Terra a job because you have a hero ring, you have earrings, you can get her rolling with that one way or another. If it's just nothing really good, then the next couple options is maybe you go and just splurge on ice rods and hope those carry you until you can learn something. Or maybe we check a few more shops and hope we can find a shield or find a weapon or find something that can get the seed sort of rolling. But as it stands right now, it doesn't look like you're planning on doing so. So we definitely at least want to grind a bit. So you seem to be going to Narsh, so maybe we're thinking about Welk Cave, or maybe we're thinking about even Kefka Narsh for some grinds. But there's definitely some other options we can consider for early grind fights. I'll let you get out of the menu first. To be honest, maybe on Terra, I would have considered putting running shoes on her because she's the only one that's going to be doing any damage. Just GP Rain all day long. So the options are, you have South Figaro down here. There's the cave. South Figaro Cave. So Figaro Castle's right here. Just south of it is a cave that if you enter the north end of South Figaro Cave, you'll be right at the healing spring, and you can go there and sort of do your grind fights. Which is just a good way to get off level 3 and not worry about bosses this early. Optionally, you have World of Ruin Narsh, which is about here in the World of Ruin. So you can fly there, switch worlds, and land, and you can sort of fight outside of the beginner's house and just take a sip off the bucket whenever you need to heal, things like that. So those are some options. I'm curious what you're planning on doing here. Maybe you're just going to grind outside here, which works too. Especially if you're planning on just going to Welk right afterwards. Oh, this is not good. I mean, GP Rain might work. GP Rain might work. This is not ideal, because they might also all just start exploding the second you throw these, and it's going to split it so much. Yeah, this is really difficult of a fight. So at this point, I'd look at it and be like, reset. the second I saw exploders, I'd be like, all right, I'm out.
Right.
They're not awful if you can kill them one at a time, but they're really bad if you're going to do negligible damage to the whole group because they're all just going to blow up in your face. So that is not great. I heard you mention Ice Rod. That is good. You can crack an Ice Rod on this. The only reason why I didn't really recommend it is because you have no other offense, really. So I thought you were saving it for a boss, but even this might not kill at level 3. Okay, it did, though. Good, good. That's a start, and what that's going to do is at least give Terra some oomph behind that GP rain. Definitely save. You also have Odin. I don't know the MP cost of Odin, but Odin is, you pop some instant death that way and just kill some things. Lunaris isn't bad. Well, at least we have Berserk. If you run into Magimaster, at least you don't have to worry about it, right? So we're level 7 with scaling at level 10 and with no offense. So we're in a bit of a predicament. Yep, checking a few more shops is a good idea. I would sell the whole house for a single shield at this point, just to grind off, get a spell, and at least have something to move forward with. So this boss has to be extremely easy for you to have a chance at. With 1 rod and 3 levels under scaling, this is an extremely risky move. It is an easy boss though, so we lucked out here. And we're pretty much just putting on GP Rain and then holding A until he drops, but it's still going to be a pretty long fight. You have a Thunder Rod, you'd probably kill him in 1 shot. Now, the thing is, I'm not sure if if Shadow there had earrings. If he did, great. If he didn't have double earrings, I would have maybe had Terra do it instead, because she has the double earrings on right now. Just get the maximum power out of it. So my worry is now we have no power. This is not that great of an experience fight. So we just got to really hope that this Esper is worth the potential scaling boost. Well, that's not what we were hoping for. At least scaling didn't get increased, so that might have actually gotten you up to the scaling. Maybe around level 9 or 10, which is pretty good. So it's not the end of the world. I would definitely be checking those shops, though. You have no offense. So, if you have to shop more, shop more. Let the seed dictate, how much you loot and how much you shop. In this case, shopping is huge, unless you're going to go to Zen right now and buy Ice Rods. Cool. You are going to Zen to get that Ice Rods, which... very good. I might have considered saving and just check the Zen Thief, but that's okay if you don't. Problem is, if that's an Illumina, you just really hamstrung yourself by not looking at it. You also have a sniper. Sniper's not bad if someone can equip it. If Shadow can use that, that's dope. But he might not be able to. I assume not, because he's not using it right now. In this situation, I would consider selling the Force Shield. I would also consider selling at least one elixir. They're good to have around, but like you're never going to use them if you're, you know, if you can't get any further in the seed, right? Now, either way, still a good call to go ahead and get that Ice Rod. And I don't know if you know, but just bear in mind that you can go to World of Ruin Zen. You already know it's a dead check. So World of Balance is the only place you can go where it tells you what it is. But the World of Ruin, you can go there and maybe it would be cheaper. So it can be anywhere down to like 2,000 gold. Humpty's fine. More GP rain if you have enough money. I think you have some. And the good thing about this is that, you know, you'll get some money from them. It's probably more than what you throw. You now know that they are undead. So in the event that you instant death something with a weapon and it comes back like that, it's instant killable with a Revivify. So you could always just drop a Revivify in their face. The one thing you want to absolutely avoid doing is killing them again with a weapon, because they'll come back at full health. They'll probably heal from that too, yeah. So weirdly enough, these guys are undead, so a Revivify is sort of the trick here. Yeah, got some money. Got some money, got some cure too. This is gross, but you got rods. You got rods and scaling's not too crazy. This might hurt a lot though. But you have cure too, so just be ready to use it. Oof, okay, yeah, I don't know. This is an instant reset, I would say. If they both died that quickly, it'd be not wasting any time, but just getting out. But that was a pretty good amount of damage off that Ice Rod, so it's possible you kill them. The question is it worth it with Shadow and Cyan dead, where they don't get experience from this fight in particular, which is a really chunky fight, right? It's a lot of experience. He's being remarkably tame, I can say that much. He probably doesn't have a whole lot of gas left. Yeah, unfortunately this boss is like a pretty big chunky, he's a lot of hit points. He is a KT boss, and they are known for being incredibly chunky. Not quite Fun Baba chunky, but at least, you know, statue chunky. Well, at the very least, your Terra is going to throw money even harder now. The question is, how much money is it going to cost? And how much money do you have? And this Palador better be really good. Good news is you're all healed, since you get a free heal from Doma. Come on, Palador, be good. Be good. That's, you know what? It's something. Meteor is Meteor. Like, it's not ideal, but that is a consistent source of non-elemental damage. Let's go. Also, while doing Espers like that, you know, you were it's kind of switching around. You already pretty much knew that the other two Espers were hot garbage a little bit, right? So you don't have to put a ton of thought into who you give each Esper to. Obviously, you want Meteor on Terra because she's your magic caster. The other two, however, just swap them around and blah blah blah. You're done. You don't want to spend too much time putting junk around. As long as someone else gets Cure 2 and someone else gets a Berserk, you're happy. But the rest of the spells were pretty negligible. I think this is honestly a pretty good choice of a place to go. You have Warp Stones. And there's not really a lot of really good, safe options. I might have even considered, if at all possible, buying more rods and going and killing a dragon to learn that meteor as fast as possible. Get that meteor on Terra, and then you could consider something along the lines of Doma Dream. You could just go and do Zozo World of Ruin for the dragon as well, so you're getting a check and a dragon for that meteor. You just gotta hope it's not an ice dragon. But anything to get some offense online, because if this boss sucks, you don't have a lot of tools left. You've already burned all your rods. All you have is GP Rain and no meteor yet, so it's a bit risky coming here with no solid plan. I don't think you have a lot of money either, so you might run out of money in the middle of this, and this sucks. This is where those rods would really come in handy. Good dog, though, if it hits. Very nice. No, he's wreathed in flames, so you don't want to throw fire at him. He's just going to absorb it. Yeah, all you have is going to be GP Rain, which is just not going to feel good. Like, this is going to feel really bad, and you'll be here for a long time. This really is one of those situations where it's like, do I want to spend 5 minutes fighting this guy? Or do I want to reset, go grab ice rods, and then come back? Or, you know, pivot. But 320, he's probably got like 5,000 life. So this is going to take a long time. I see that Jazer's mentioning Ice 3. Ice 3 is a good option on him. The downside to this boss entirely is that he's got a ridiculous amount of magic defense. So while he is weak to ice, it still does a shockingly low amount of damage, all things considered. But an ice rod ignores magic defense, and he's weak to it. So probably one of them would kill him. But the question is it worth the trip all the way back? And that's hard to say. But this is actually a really cool tactic of just swinging. So right there, I would have probably weight tricked instead. Because we don't really want him casting any more bolts. But you got through it anyway. GG. That's actually a cool strat. I didn't really think about it. Shoutouts to Jazer. And everybody got experience, so that's awesome. Also probably Meteor, because he gives you a ton of magic power. Alright, well you got offense online. You got something to hit with. I mean, mute, I guess. Sure. We need it. Yeah, and he would be your best one with Meteor, which is good. He's got better magic than Cyan ever will. So, still no character. We could look at Doma Dream, which is definitely a move. Or we could just go and hop straight into Floating Continent. Or here as well, yeah. Good call. But do we have the money for it? Ooh, we do. Okay, good. A little bit worried about your money situation because you spent so much on the rods and have thrown a lot too. And this is a good option too because you get to put that meteor on Shadow. I would just make sure Shadow has 2 earrings as well. That way, you know, if it's going to be your only source of damage, at least make it good. And dragons are a good option in general right now because you're 1 weapon away from being like pretty okay. Not the best option, but not the worst either. What we really just don't want to see early is like a water dragon. A white dragon is not very good. So blue, white, yellow, or gold, I guess. Those are not fantastic ones due to the amount of area effect spells and nonsense they do. Yeah, and pretty much on this guy, your other dudes are not doing enough damage to risk the counterattacks. Don't do it. No, no, don't do it. No, don't do it. No, don't do it. Yeah, Torado is Earth. Oops. Oh, that's right. It's for whatever reason he's floating anyway. Well, that's unfortunate. Have that sweet Genji glove for all the weapons you don't have.
Wow, where is my 4th character? Dream? Got Dream or I've got Velvet.
Floating Continent as well. So Floating Continent, a lot of people avoid Floating Continent, but it is 2 pieces of guaranteed progression. After you do your first 3 grind fights and then the 2 bosses, that first check as soon as you land on the Floating Continent is guaranteed to be a character or an Esper. The middle check at the Atma weapon spot, that is an Esper or an item, so it's not guaranteed. And then the last check when you jump off the island is also an Esper or a character guaranteed. So it's always an option if you're looking for guaranteed progression, even though it's generally a fairly slow check. And a bit risky if you don't have good enough offense. It does guarantee you 2 pieces of progression. So you have a 50-50 shots at a character there. Dream is also a guaranteed progression at the second spot. So the Stooges are going to be item and Esper only. But after you finish it, you can get, it's guaranteed character or Esper. And then the Throne is, again, an Esper or an item only. But at least there's guaranteed progression there. This place is not guaranteed, but at least you can see it first. Because the character laying down at the end, if it's an Esper sitting there, then it's an Esper. If it's not a character or an Esper, then it's a dead check. And if it's a character, it's a character. So easy to tell what you're going to get and can just choose to warp out if you don't like what you see. More money for the GP Rain grinder. All right, Sabin. That's a good one. Can't complain about a Sabin find. He's got so many good, fast checks. I mean, he's got Crumbling House, where you can check the Zen Thief and see if that item's any good. World of Ruin, or World of Balance, you got 3 checks right next door to each other. You got the Imperial Camp, Phantom Train, and Barren Falls. Ultros 1. Quick and easy. Now, I still would probably go ahead and do Dream while you're here. So I do hope that you don't get sort of tunnel vision on Sabin and just immediately tackle his checks when one of the best checks in the game's right next door. So, well, I guess it's not going to be right next door now because this is going to teleport you down to Thamasa. But you can still consider at Thamasa, you can fly up to Zen and you could, you know, do the Crumbling House and all that stuff, then fly over to Dream. That'd probably be the ideal routing right now. That's trash. Sabin's usually bad anyway, but if you're interested, there's actually a hidden chest here that you can get. It's right there. So you just go whoop, right down there, and there's a little chest. If you need it, it's always good just to see if it's there, because it's a pretty quick loot. Another Aegis shield. Defense is not your problem, that's for sure. Yeah, I was gonna say maybe take a trip to the shop, see what you can find. Cat hood's nice. I'm never upset seeing a cat hood. Punisher could go away. I wouldn't really get rid of the Magus Rod. Oh, that was pretty risky, but you know what? I respect it. Sacking a Genji glove this early is it's a choice. It's one of those ones where it's like, well, it's either gonna be good or it's gonna really hurt later. Yeah, kind of the downside to a GP Rain early seed is that you you just don't have a lot of money sitting around because you're throwing it so much. So I see where you're headed, but probably what I would have considered, and I mentioned it earlier, is This is one way, sure, but you can kind of make a path out of checks, right? So you can go here and you can check that and then head up. So you're hitting two checks and they're about equidistant, but it's like you can get two checks into one route, right? As opposed to going up first and down. The reason why also is if you end here, you're not going to be as close to where the save and checks are in the world of balance. So if you go here first, here second, and then you switch to the world of balance, you'll be right next to the save and trio, and you can sort of work on those three. So it's another one of those things where like your routing can really affect sort of how fast you can get to checks. So it's always good to be mindful of like what's the most efficient route, especially if you think you're going to go back to the world of balance for the save and stuff. But that's okay going here as well. It's perhaps not optimized, but it's not a bad choice at all. Saban's kind of a potato. He's not going to be doing much of nothing. Yeah, I don't hate that. One thing you can consider, if you're one that likes to keep your inventory nice and managed like that, you can consider making those sort of inventory adjustments in combat while you're weight tricking. So we have a couple players that do like to manage their inventory because they're fans of Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise. And, while a character's maybe casting a spell like Meteor, you can pop into your item menu and just kind of move things around. So you're weight tricking and inventory management at the same time. Just another way to consider more efficient ways to handle things. I never remember to do it, but when I have remembered to do it, I'm like, nice. Two things in one. All right, and we had discussed her. You have Meteor, which means Reflect isn't going to work. We don't have any X zones, so that's not really an option. But we could just blast Meteors and, send some fight commands her way, and she'll go down pretty quick. Really, really low HP. Generally a very non-threatening boss. Good weight tricking. Love to see it. Big fan. Man, with that Megas Rod on, she's starting to hit pretty good with that Meteor. I think probably like 1 GP ran away from death, but Meteor works too.
This is slow, but at least it's going to keep the job done. All right, let's go.
All right, let me just say, love to see that you got an Esper, knowing that you're kind of hurting for magic and things right now, and not actually putting it on right now. This right here is how you can determine what you're gonna get. If it's a character, it's a character. If it's not a character, it's an Esper. So this place is a guaranteed progression. So at least this is gonna be an Esper. Now I can't really say it's that useful because By the time you're this far, you're probably not going to reset out because you see something you don't want. But it's good to, you know, if it's a character when you wanted an Esper, or if it's an Esper when you wanted a character, at least you can get your rage out of the way. Another small optimization. You're already kind of doing this thing, and you're already right next to this chest, so you can just loot it right here. By going up here, you're actually taking a step up and a step down. While this way, you're not going up or down at all, so it's saving you 2 steps. It's, again, another small optimization, but it's just something to keep in mind. The less movement you can do, especially the less, I don't know, the less direction changes you can make, the better. Since there is a small delay every time that you change direction. So if you're already next to a chest, just loot it while you're there.
But at least they give me still no whispers off the bat, which would be nice. Let's go, let's go, let's go.
I'm gonna skip forward a little bit, since we don't really need to watch all that transition. Good call. Only using 2 is fantastic. And we just want to check that one Esper. Alright. I mean, Ultima and Strength, that's good. Ultima's not fantastic. You don't have an easy way to cast it. So you don't have a gold hairpin, you don't have an economizer. So it's not like it's a instant win blue bubble mode, but a plus strength is not bad because she is the only one that you have that can guaranteed use a big weapon. Cure 3 is fantastic as well. I would have probably put that on Shadow since Shadow's magic is way better. So it just gives you a thicker heal if you need it, but it's a small thing. Sabin tends to be pretty useless, so I usually want to put the utility stuff on him if possible. Doomgay is not ideal. As long as you pass the math test, fingers crossed. Okay, good. You should be fine. This is a boss that you want to weight trick hard on, which looks like you're doing, which is good. Love to see it. A big fan of the fact that you are like really into the weight tricking now, which is awesome. Like I see it a lot more than I saw before. And versus someone like Doomgaze that's just got some pretty nasty spells, it's just the way to make him a million times safer. I probably would avoid attacking with those guys though, because they're just so useless. All you do by attacking for like 100 damage versus a guy like him with so much life is you just provoke a counterattack, which not only is slow, but it also just needlessly puts that character in danger, right? So it's always good just to avoid the enemy acting at all. And just let those ATBs go down, and they can be your Phoenix down dudes if anybody gets doomed or killed. Which I see you're doing right now, which, again, major props. I'm loving to see, like, the progression of your sort of combat optimization. The question is, do we have a tincture? Tincture would be nice. One fun thing to keep in mind as well, you can, when you're scrolling through items, you can hold the R1 button and then go up and down, and that's going to let you scroll faster. So if you're all the way at the bottom of your item menu like you were there, you hold R1 and hold up, and it'll just like shoot you up to the top really fast. Shadow's just being a pro at blocking death, which good for him. Looks like we're back to GP Rainland, unless we have a tincture sitting around. Or an ether, I suppose. I don't think I saw a tincture. But he should be, like, kind of on the way to death. He's got a lot of life. Oh, that sucks. So, the consideration now is we need to burn an elixir, is what we need to do. I would recommend... So, Sabin here... Realistically, you don't need all of your characters to get experience all the time, right? You want to prioritize your characters pretty severely. When it comes to Sabin, he just does not have much use in general, unless you have a reason for him to stay up. Like if he was able to use an Illumina or a Ragnarok or an Atma or whatever, and you're like, that's going to be my physical damage dealer, I got to make sure he stays up because levels are so important. Awesome. However, when dealing with Doomgaze and he just keeps killing your most useless character and you're out of MP, you want to get through this fight as fast as possible. You don't want to like sort of faff about. So the best bet would be pop an elixir on Terra. If you have a tincture or an ether, you can do that as well to try and save or preserve those elixirs, and hopefully you kill him in one meteor. Um, but just an elixir on Terra and just keep the meteors flowing and get this guy out of your face. And you can make up the levels on Sabin later. Or ideally just replace Sabin later with a character that is way better. Thunder Rod is fantastic though. Should kill. Yeah. So that works as well. 100%. I forgot you had a Thunder Rod, so love to see it. The other thing about Doomgaze is he doesn't give you any magic points. So Sabin got the experience, but he wasn't going to learn anything from it because of the lack of magic points that you get from Doomgaze. Alexander's not bad as a damage spell. A lot of people kind of fade it a little bit, but it's the second best damage spell or Esper in the game, right next to Bahamut. The main difference is that Alexander is going to be Pearl, while Bahamut is not elemental. So Bahamut is always going to be preferred. It's not only stronger, but it hits literally anything. Nothing resists Bahamut. So one thing to keep in mind, one thing that I think could be improved upon in general, is do your best to think at least one step ahead while you're doing things, especially in something like Doma Dream, where you have that, like, you have all those cutscenes, right? So you're watching dudes just run around, you're not doing anything. During those moments, that's when you can be like, all right, so I'm going to finish Doma Dream. I saw the sprite, so I know it's not a character. So where am I going to go after Doma Dream? And you can kind of repeat it in your head as you finish it. I'm going to Sabin's checks. I'm going to Sabin's checks. I'm going to Imperial Camp, or I'm going to Barren Falls. That way, when you get outside, you just hop in your airship and you go. There's not that delay of sitting and like, wait a minute, where am I going to go? What am I going to do? I'm not actually sure. You just kind of, you hop in that airship and you execute the plan that you've already thought of in your head. Life 2, the best healing spell in the game. Ice 3, yes, please. And Flare, my signature spell. No. She needs Ice 3. What I would consider doing is taking the Opera House Dragon at this point, because you have a lot of good expensive things to sort of learn. You've got Life 2, you've got Ice 3, you've got Life 3, I think, you've got Ultima. So the option is there to just go straight into a dragon to learn that Ice 3. And if you were considering having Terra be your attacker later, assuming you find a weapon and you wanted to keep that Strength Esper on her, that's fine too. You can go to the dragon, just learn that Ice 3, and put that Strength Esper right back on her. I do that pretty often. You're ready for a big weapon. You just need a big weapon to show up. Which I'm not sure if you remember, but we should definitely check the Zen Thief while we're here. And also, this is like a really good time to really, really strongly consider the Colosseum. All right, yeah, I'm hearing you say going to the waterfall. You're a little quiet on your VOD, so it's hard to hear you sometimes, but I hear you saying you're planning on going to the waterfall. That's awesome. I would probably consider doing the dragon first, though. Oh my goodness. Again, everything other than the weapon. So we do want to check the Zen Thief. I don't know if you've forgotten about him, but we do want to do that. We got $0, but we got enough to sell.
On the VK is not dead, but yeah, I'm gonna do that.
I probably would have sold at least something to pick up just those, since it is important to have a good amount of curables. So my recommendation, because you have Ice 3, Ultima, Life 2, you have a lot of big thick spells that you want to learn. You can go over here and take that Opera Dragon, right? And kill him. And then when you're done, you can switch your Espers around or whatever. Switch to the World of Balance, and then you just kind of zip over here to Barren Falls. It's still a pretty quick trip, and it just loops in that dragon along that path so that you can get that spell up and running. Because Meteor just ain't it. Ice 3 isn't really it either. It's like the least desirable sort of spell, level 3 spell you could get, because there's a lot of things that absorb it or take no damage from it. It's slow. So, but you know, you need something. Meteor is pretty weak. Thankfully, it does work AoE, doesn't split damage, but still, we would like some good concentrated level 3 spell action going on. Not to mention the dragon gives you the chance of getting yourself a high tier weapon. Another thing we could consider doing, actually, and I'll fast forward afterwards. So we could do a couple things, right? Let's see. We could go over here, right? We could do the dragon. We could zip down to the Colosseum and see if we can get a big weapon that way. And then we can go over here to the Barren Falls. So there's like ways in which to sort of loop things in, especially because you're so focused on finding a big weapon right now, because the seed is just like really slammed the need for big weapons in your face. Good weight tricking. You're not overqueuing your characters. You're weight tricking beautifully. Keep it up. I don't know if we got Alexander on somebody, but if we do, we can blast that if you remember it. So, I know how this fight's gonna go, so we're just gonna skip ahead. It's gonna be meteors all day long until he drops dead finally. Alright, down he went. I'm gonna skip some more. Alright, character. A disgusting character. It's a Go-Go. I love Go-Go. Don't get me wrong. Go-Go's fantastic. This is just not the character we want right now. But what we can do right now is we can just put him in and head straight to Zone Eater if you're planning on doing it. Since this is a character change-up moment, you can put one character in, zip over to it, get it knocked out. Or we can just keep doing saving things, which is fine. Now, let's talk about Go-Go a little bit. Okay, a lot of people don't like him because I think what they do is they look at him as a main damage dealer. And he will never, ever, ever be a main damage dealer. His whole job is to do things that everybody else can do so that your other guys don't have to do it. Doom, Mute, X Zones, Cure 3, all that good stuff. He can just do that now. And fantastic. Like, the thing is you got to make sure you have enough damage dealers to compensate for him, because he's never going to win anything by himself. He's got to be paired with somebody. So you do want at least 2 really good damage dealers to supplement him. But if you're ever planning on using him, use him with the knowledge that he's never going to carry you, but he lets your carries do even more damage. They get to shine because he's just going to sit there and do all the mundane crap. So we are 5 and 8 right now. But we have a bunch of pretty decent checks, so there's not really much of a reason to do Zone Eater right now. I think your logic here is sound. We just need one Esper and one character. This is a fine choice. It's fairly fast, gives you a little bit of levels. And we could also consider Phantom Train afterwards to peek it and see if there's a character or an Esper if we just need one of them after this. We got Mount Colts, which is a little bit difficult to route, but it's fairly fast. We also have a peekable check in Mobliz World of Ruin. It's kind of another job for Meteor. Just kind of get it over with, right? Ice is going to do probably no damage, or like 200 maybe. Oh, shit. Well, screw me, right? I'm way off. I did not expect an Ice 1 to do 1400 damage, but you know what? Terra is slapping. Love it. So downside of GP Rain is that it's going to split damage among all the targets. So when there's 4 targets, it's split 4 ways, so it's like not super worth doing. In that case, like the whole thing could be resolved with 1 Meteor instead, because it does not split damage, just wrecks all of them at once. It's a little slower. It feels a little slower, but it's still 1 action as opposed to like 3, 4, 5 actions. So it ends up being faster in the long run. Awesome fight. Absolutely incredible fight. Meteor until they're all dead. Smirk sucks, though. We just hope that doesn't hit anybody. Yeah, she is hitting really hard now, and that is such a good grind fight. Tons of magic power, tons of experience. Just fantastic. A lot of money. All right. So, we have 5 and 9. So we are looking to really be considering at this point finding some peekable checks. As peekable as we could find would be fantastic. So right now we really only have 2. We have Phantom Train, where you can run in and head to the back, the caboose of the train, and see if it's a character. If it is, maybe we complete it. Or we can go over here to Mobliz World of Ruin, and we could peek that as well. You just enter the first house and then go downstairs into the basement, talk to a girl, and she'll tell you if it's a character or not. So we would want to be considering our peekable checks to get that unlock as fast as possible. And since we're already really close to Phantom Train, it really makes sense just to go ahead and save, fly down there and look at it, see what we got. Life 3 is nice. Merton's nice, but you don't really have a way to deal with it right now. You only have, what, a Minerva? So, not exactly what we're hoping for. We do want someone sort of soaking up that Strength Esper, though. Just, like, praying we find something. No character.
Okay.
So I would just reset out. Unless that Esper is like insanely good. Because this is a long check.
You need to get out of my way, Ghost.
Yeah, I might have just considered looking at Phantom, see if it's anything good. If it's good, then maybe consider it. If not, reset and head somewhere else. Now, the one good thing about it is that, you're kind of low level, so it's not a bad idea to come here and hopefully get some decent experience, which poppers are actually good experience. Surprisingly. I still would just blast a meteor, though. GP Rain at this point is pretty much obsolete. You can consider using it single target, it's just not worth it multi-target. One thing to keep in mind as well, that fight is a ghost, so it's one of the ghosts that you run into in the trains. So if that required grind fight is really good, you can just fight. You can fight like this ghost or any of the other wandering ghosts that aren't shops, and it's the same fight. For example, I watched Poot Scooty today. That fight was double Gigantos. So he walked through here and just grinded out double Gigantoses forever. And he was like level 68 before he left, which was hilarious. He then proceeded to have like a 4-minute Kefka climb. It was pretty wild. So just know that, those ghosts are the same as that one mandatory fight. Pretty daring to not save. There's a lot of nastiness still around. All the statues are still around, and Magimaster, so it's a risky, risky move to not save here, but let's see.
What do we got?
Oh, vanilla. Well, I think you'll be okay.
Damn, that's cool.
I still don't think we have instant death, do we? Instant death does work on on the train. It's one of the few bosses you can actually kill that way. So I'm gonna go over something. I know we've been hounding about like weight tricking and things like that. This is one of those times where maybe weight tricking is not the move, and the reason is you're attacking with these two, and you're not attacking with these two. So by the time these two are done, or let's say Shadow goes, and then you're weight tricking the whole time, and then she goes and you're weight tricking the whole time. Now both of them have very low ATB bars, but you're not doing anything with these guys. If you weren't weight tricking, by the time she was done, maybe Shadow would be like 50% or 75% of an ATB full, and you can get him to attack again. So this is one of those instances where maybe weight tricking is not the move, because we're not really worried about what this guy's gonna do. He can do like Evil Toot, right? Which sucks, but it's not really the end of the world. We're really trying to kill him as fast as possible, and only these two are doing anything. So just keep that in mind. Sometimes weight tricking is not the move, and this is one of those times, I think. But you can definitely queue up with Terra, like kind of weight trick for this, and then the second that, now you can just sit out of your menu and let it go. Let Shadow power up. But now you'll see Shadow is at like 25%, so you would have had to wait for Shadow to charge up all the way. You could just not weight trick until his ATB is full, and then start weight tricking until the spell is done. Then you can just switch over to him and use your ability. That kind of thing.
Good call. Okay. Wait, not that one. So this the that's the exit first. That's the wrong one. Wait, no. This is up. This is up.
Yeah, unfortunately, that is not the one. It is actually southwest of it, I believe. I actually think you were there. It's that bottom one, which you'll find out really quickly. Yeah, Ghost Train doesn't give any magic points, so... I would check that Phantom, though. I don't think we've seen what he's got going on.
This is not close. He's the back door. I was right. The back door to cross. I need to go here.
Yeah, so it's just right over there to the... There it is, right there. So I guess it's pretty much directly south. I thought it was more southwest, but nope. We could also have a little bit of a discussion about check logic as well. You and I have talked about it before, and that's that, you know, the saying I've heard multiple times is that the seed is deeper than it is wide, and that what that usually translates to is characters tend to be gated behind the most recent character that you got. Now, Go-Go unfortunately only has one check, but it stands to logic that there's a very good chance that a character is gated behind it because he is the most recent character. So it is an option to head that way and see. I'm not 100% sure it's the greatest move, though, because we still have another peekable check, and we could really use some experience, and a free check is not really going to help in that regard. Our offense is hot garbage, so the last thing we want to do is be low level on top of having, like, no offense at all. I'm still in the camp of, like, Coliseum is definitely something that should be done just to see what's going on. This blows, but we have Meteor, and we also have GP Rain, both of which negate defense. So you can get right through it. So one thing to consider if you're ever going to sketch is just think about what the enemy uses and if it will be useful for you to use. So, like, sketching him, I want to say you could do, like, Blizzard or physical attack, right? But if you use any ice magic, you're going to heal him, and if you use a physical attack, you're not going to do any damage. So you can say, yeah, I don't think sketching this guy is really going to help. He has no spells that are going to actually damage him. So it's just kind of like skip it. Because sketch regularly just does a move that the enemy can do out of a small select list. For example, like Final Kefka, if you sketch him, you could do Havoc Wing, a physical attack, or Ultima. So, awesome. Like Great Behemoth. Great Behemoth you can sketch and get Meteor off of, which is area effect, hits everything for non-elemental damage. Fantastic. So it's definitely useful. And also, if you know their rage, there's a decent chance that sketching does something very similar. Yeah, we got a lot of good stuff, because Tritalk does give a lot of good stuff. Oh, fantastic. Got ourselves a Moogle. We are nowhere near check skip. We are nowhere near Esper skip. We need 2 Espers, which, but we do need levels really, really bad. So, we can consider a few different things for sure. So, we have Unlock at like level 33. Our only offense is Meteor and Ice 3. We have decent healing and decent armor. We have no big weapons, but all the things for big weapons. So we need to be thinking, like, can I kill Kefka like this? And the answer is, like, yeah, kinda, maybe. But we also have three statues still in the boss pool, along with a Magimaster, which is not good. So the lanes are scary because of the amount of bosses still left. Your offense is piddly. It's really bad. So we need to, like, find a way, like, what are we gonna do how can we maybe rectify this situation? And there's I'd say right now there's probably a couple options. Coliseum 1,000,000%. Like we need to go check the Coliseum. There might be nothing there, but there might be Illuminas for potions. So like we need to be going there just to see what we can get. Maybe we could get something to propel us through. Even if it's like shields. If we can find something like fire shields or ice shields, we have Merton on an Esper. So if we have Merton protection, we could be like, all right, we got Merton protection. I have Merton on an Esper. I just have to learn it. We have Opera House Dragon, and we have a Kefka Dragon. Boom, Merton learned. We're ready to go, rolling with it. We can at least find some like piece of the puzzle that we're missing, hopefully by doing Coliseum. If not, well, at least we tried, right? The other thing is we need levels. We can't get through it this way. We'll probably die. So in a situation like this where I do not feel comfortable splitting my team with the bosses still in the pool, first of all, we'd want to go maybe kill Opera House Dragon. Go do that, get our levels, see if we get something cool, some good weapons, something, anything would be great. Learn some spells while we're at it, get somebody else Ice 3, get somebody else Life 2, that sort of thing. And then we would probably consider doing a full right side clear. So that is putting our entire team on the right side of Kefka Tower and just putting our two sort of dummies on the left and middle. Make sure they have Moogle Stones because Moogle Charms, because obviously we don't want them attacking anything, but they don't fight any bosses on their lanes until they get to the switches. So what you do is your whole team is on the right. You go through, you maybe kill the dragon, you kill the Inferno spot, you save, go all the way up through the switches, you fight the Guardian spot, and you go all the way up through the Poltergeist spot. You kill every boss along the way, and then you warp out and you run the tower again. The reason why you would do that is your whole team gets experience. You get an extra dragon. You get 3 bosses of experience. And then you can warp out and you can have 2 characters in each lane. You only have 2 characters that are any good right now. And that's Terra and Shadow, who have Meteor and Ice 3, right? So you can put one of those in each lane and then one of your other sort of potato characters in those lanes with them and rerun the tower that way. And that way you put 2 characters in the left lane, 2 characters in the middle lane, and then one of your dummy characters on the right. And then you run it normally. And you just make sure those 2 characters, the one in the left and the middle, end up on the left and right lanes at the switches, and problem solved. You got 2 people, you're much safer that way, and you also get a ton more experience. So I'm interested to see what your... Oh, hold on. What did Mog have that had you switch him out? I'm curious. Dance. Okay. So let's have a little talk about that as well. Who do you get rid of? Cyan, sure. So Dance sucks. Cyan also kind of sucks. But the big difference right now is Cyan has magic, right? Cyan has learned magic throughout this entire seed, which means he's got like Cure and Life and Mute and all that good stuff. So if nothing else, he can just stand around and use magic and Cure, which is fine. Mog, on the other hand, has Dance and nothing else. You can teach him some critical spells with dragons, but is he good enough to like replace all the utility that Cyan has? I doubt it. I would be inclined to say probably not. Skip all this. So this is where I'm a little bit confused. Maybe we're going for Skip, but Skip is so dangerous to you with how weak your party is that I don't think that's like super useful anyway. It might work out if the bosses are nice, but the risk is really high. I guess that makes sense too. If you're gonna, I guess you can go up that way to see if you can get a weapon. Could work. Maybe Lone Wolf has an Illumina. Experience egg is nice, but unfortunately it's just nothing good for it. Since you're heading up, I'm just going to... Okay, that's item shop. And Nothing crazy there. Did you go to the relic shop or no? No. Yeah, nothing crazy. I'm gonna skip ahead so we can see what's at the Lone Wolf here.
Give me a weapon.
Oh, that's so trolly, but it's there later if you need it. I don't think you would ever go back there to get it because you just got one for free. And a flame shield. That's pretty disgusting. Well, that's another piece of Merton protection, right? We got, what, one shield and Minerva, so we just need 2 shields. Now the question is, what are we gonna do here? Doing Kefka at Narsh. Yeah, you just got hung up there, no biggie. Dullahan, he's undead. Even though he's covered in flames, you can still use fire on him. I think ice heals him, though, if I recall correctly. Yeah, generally the logic is that, like, he's undead and they're cold, so cold stuff, like, heals them. Happens a lot with undead dudes. But again, I'm gonna skip ahead, because really we're just gonna be not doing anything too crazy right now. Yeah, just dancing for Elfire. At least the dance is decent. Behemoth suit, yeah.
That's awful.
Alright, so we're still at the point where we need to do the Coliseum and a dragon. Or perhaps multiple dragons. Our levels are fine now, but we're still like, are they good enough to solo a lane? And I don't know. I do not know if they're good enough to solo lanes. Yeah, this I really don't recommend because of the amount of time it takes. It's a pretty long check. But we'll go ahead and skip ahead. It's a realm we would 1,000,000% just reset out. Again, she doesn't have any like good spells. Maybe she's got natural magic, which would be nice. What is that, throw? Yeah. Well, she's got nat mag, so like maybe, possibly. Oh man, you kind of got rid of like all your utility spells. That has me a little worried. Like a lot worried. The question is that's burning is like, what does Realm have? At this point, we're pretty much committed to skip, so we should just go ahead and do it. We have 19 checks. You can get 1 here if that's what you're going to do. Do the 2 in KT. Get ourselves a skip that way. You'll be like level 43 or so. So let's see what we get. So my main concern right now is that you just don't have a lot of good utility spells since you got rid of your 2 utility characters. So what we really need to be making sure of right now is that Realm and Mog are learning their utility stuff. We need Mute, we need Instant Death, we need Cure and Life and things like that. We want to make sure they have access to those spells because the characters that you got rid of had it. So last thing we want to do is get to Kefka and not have anything that we need. Ice does work on him, but he's weak to Bolt. You still want to use fire. I mean, his name is Inferno, so don't use fire. He's also a glass cannon. You'll probably kill him in 1 or 2 attacks anyway, so haste 2 won't really be a bonus. But stealing from him is fantastic. You can steal multiple things and have Merton protection ready to go. That's what I would definitely do. Like, steal another shield and, like, Merton protection online, learn Merton, and you suddenly have crazy amounts of offense. That's one thing I don't consider enough is, like, stealing, especially from Inferno, who has 3 shields on him, is just, like, insanely strong on him in particular.
Stayed alive. That's good. I think I need to go to Alta. Try to find some throwing. But I don't remember seeing any throwables anywhere.
So we're at 20 checks at this point. We want to do the middle of Kefka's Tower. Just the middle lane, because Toilet Atma spot and the Dragon spot both give you a guaranteed high tier item. So if we're looking for something good, that's a good place to do it. And it gets you skip. All right, going for a little bit of last minute shopping, I'm guessing. So one thing to keep in mind is that throwing late is not really good. It might do 2,000 or 3,000 per target, which is something, right? But it's not like incredible late game offense. It'll get the job done in this case though, because your offense is so lacking at the moment. I think that's a good call. Since you're pretty low on sleeping bags, you don't want to run out like halfway through KT. So what I might have considered as opposed to this is just hop in the airship and unequip all characters that are outside of your party. You could do that with the dude inside the airship. And that way it'd just be a lot faster to knock that out that way than having to switch to multiple menus, multiple characters, things like that. So just something to keep in mind. Well, at least Tiger is going to have a hard time with you. You got a lot of ice. Weapon? No weapon. But that is Merton protection. I think it's too late. It's not actually too late. You're going to fight a dragon right now. You just have to have someone with Merton, that Esper on right now to kill this dragon and then go kill Opera House Dragon. And you would have Merton ready to go. Which at this point I'd probably be a little bit desperate to get as just some kind of like overwhelming offense for Kefka, especially tier 2. You could honestly just stick with ice. Flare's okay. Ice is fine too. It's just water that he absorbs, not ice. Flare just takes so long. The game's just trying to shut me up about saying you didn't need to go shopping for skeins, but then throws you a blue dragon, which is weak to a bolt. I like the idea of switching to Realm and just using another Bolt Edge to finish him off. That's really good ATB management there, and using the right character for the right moment. And not wasting time with a bunch of useless spells. I like it. There it is. There it is. She can get herself an Illumina, or he can. Yeah. Since you don't have Merton, you don't have to worry about having a shield. Nah, we want an Atlas. Big weapons want Atlas. Or a hero. They want a hero. Yeah, we could always do an experience egg for now. Just make sure you put that hero ring on later. Or the Atlas, I suppose. Illumina does not require front row. Illumina is the same damage in front or back row, so just leave them back there. It's one of the things that makes Illumina so good. Not only does it increase your defenses, it increases your evade, and you can attack the same amount of damage in the back row. So it's a very defensive weapon, while also being one of the strongest weapons in the game. I don't know if you saw it, but Ifrit has the strength +1. That's probably what you're looking for. Just let him have it with that experience egg. Okay, so one thing to show you. So you got this Esper a while ago, but I don't know that you taught very many people stuff from it, because it has Fire 3. So Fire 3 is sort of like a way to solve your tier 1 head. So that's the way to solve that one. And then anybody else who didn't have Ice 3 can learn it as well. So it gives you some really good utility. On top of that, Vanish is really good for dealing with tier 1 and his counterattacks. You could vanish the one who's going to be physically attacking really hard, like Shadow, and keep him from taking damage from it. So it's a really good Esper. She has it, but I know you got that back in Phantom Train, and not very many people have taken use of it. So that's one thing you definitely... You know, if you're low offense, sometimes it's really good to check your Espers earlier, just to make sure that you're taking advantage of the best ones. Ooh, that's risky. Risky, risky. No save? That's scary. Okay. You had me a little scared for a moment. Like, oh no, is he going to put Mog alone? I don't think he can handle this. So usually what I try to do, if I have an extra character like that, these two are here and they need their relic spots for other stuff, right? So you don't want to have one of them have a Moogle charm. So I would probably like take him and put him here, and he could be the Moogle charm guy. And then this guy's the Moogle charm guy, and this guy's the Moogle charm guy. That way, you know, your actual characters, so them, and them can all have their earrings and atlases and heroes and experience eggs and all that stuff, while the other three can use your Moogle charms. That would be my logic there. Is just keep Saban in the middle, let him be the Moogle charm dude, and call it a day. It's not the end of the world. You'll be all right. That's pretty gross. We have ways to deal with her, but it's not ideal. Ice 3 basically all day long. And a Hope. But she has a Minerva, so we're probably okay. This is just going to take a really long time. If we have Haste, I know Cyan has a lot of spells. Now's like the time to use Haste. And just like get Terra doing something, because this fight is going to take forever. Well, never mind. Now they're charmed. She's got about 30k, so it's going to take about 10 rounds to take her out. She's actually got closer to like 20 or 30, so like 20 to 25. She's got the lowest life out of all three, so we could be just fine. We could, yeah, hold A until she dies. There's not a ton she can do to hurt you with a Minerva on. That's one of the things that could hurt you with a Minerva on. And we do have plenty of MP, so this will be fine. I'm going to skip ahead. There's not a lot that could really occur here. She'll probably cast Overcast on you at some point. As she do. Flare is not great. Alright, yeah. We got through it. It just took a while. It's Minerva coming in clutch there, because that was not ideal. I was going to say, let's just make sure we have some things on. She is one of your main damage dealers, so I would consider putting her with a utility spell and not Calmness Protection. I'd put Calmness Protection on one of the utility characters like Mog. Probably Mog would be my main Calmness Protection, because he's going to do the least damage out of anybody else in the party. It's not a big deal that you gave it to Terra, but Terra would be better off just attacking rather than focusing on Calmness Protection. Now, the good news is that we have gotten rid of Goddess, which is one of the like main enemies to anybody who does physical attacks without an offering. So The main thing that we don't want to see on this lane is going to be Magimaster or Poltergeist. This is perfectly okay. We could just get away with an Ice 3 on it and not even worry about the Illumina. The Illumina will be fine, but Ice 3 would be better. Nice. Good job not like getting focused on the fact that you're weapons based. There's another reason why I recommend that as well, is that if you were to get a proc on the Illumina, it does 0 damage, but you still lost all the time, right? So Ice 3, at least you know you're not going to get a proc that does 0 damage. And probably one more. This is another one of those situations where the haste 2 is not going to matter, because by the time it's done casting, you're already, like, done. You're already ready to go and you get one action with it. You don't really need to bother with haste unless you foresee that you're going to have, like, 2 or 3 rounds before the fight's over. Otherwise, it'll just be a net loss. Now, you didn't lose much. You basically lost the menu time and maybe a second or two waiting for haste 2 to finish. So it wasn't the end of the world, but just something to keep in mind. And just slow fish. I'm just going to skip ahead. Nothing interesting is to be found from watching a Piranha's fight. I'm sure you attacked a lot until you won. Yeah. Ideally, it would be the Hero Ring, and the reason why is Hero Ring not only gives you the benefit of Atlas Armlet, but it gives you the benefit of the Earring as well. Now, you're not going to get double Earring bonus, but you still get a boost to your proc damage, so it will boost the power of your... trying to figure out what you're doing here. True Knight? You got nobody who needs it. Oh, it's Mog. Wait. No, you're using Mog for casting. Definitely give him 2 earrings. Definitely give him 2 earrings, since that's what he's doing is, like, cure and stuff, right? So, I wouldn't worry about True Knight much because, like, you don't have a VK user, so True Knight's rarely useful in that context. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure I would have bothered with the experience egg there. Levels are pretty negligible for magic damage in comparison to what you get from a fight damage or physical damage builds. It's fine, but it's still extra menuing that you'll have to do to take that off and put an earring on. And it might get you an extra level if you're lucky. Fun thing about him, you have a hero ring on, which increases your physical damage. Kefka has pretty decent magical defense, but he doesn't have very good physical defense, so it's entirely possible that just chucking one of your weapons at him, a high battle power weapon, would almost potentially do similar or more damage. I'm not 100% sure on that one. It would be tricky. I think it would be close, though. All right, well, we made it. It's been quite a ride getting to Kefka from the beginning. It's pretty challenging offense, start to finish. No hyper risk necessary, unless you're going to throw regular weapons, but since she's going to be magic casting, she's Realm. Double earrings all day. Earring and hyper or hero ring is what you'd be looking for. We also need Siren. We need Siren and Odin, actually. Because I don't think we have any instant death. Alright, let's skip on ahead. Alright, you and I talked extensively about Kefka fights in general, so I don't know if we have instant death. If we don't have instant death, then we just have to kind of deal with it. But Head is weak to fire. We do have fire 3 on at least one character, so we would definitely want to be using that. We have X-Zone. All right, great. Fantastic. Yep, haste 2 here is appropriate for sure. Now, I missed if the long arm died, but I'm assuming it did. So, yeah. Looking great so far. Got a first try X-Zone, which is always nice. 6,000 damage Ice 3 is not bad on Head. It's going to do 9k on Tiger. 8k is looking really good there, too. So, he is probably going to be dead. Yeah. We're looking really good. Now we got to worry about provoking counterattacks. So life 3 is cool and all, but we could just like use Vanish instead. But I guess it is a nice little buffer. We have Calmness Protection, so I don't have to worry about life 3 too much. He is hitting like a truck. He is hitting so hard. So I do see you tend to get, you queue several characters at a time on that phase. So just be careful on Kefka in general to not over queue too much, because things can just go real wild real fast. That one went fine, but Realm's defense is pretty good, so I didn't think that she was going to die to a counterattack, but you might get like a full ATB bar attack. He'll hit you, and then you attack, and he'll counter, and then kill that character, and then you might lose that character for the rest, so let's just be really careful about it. Good job with Mute. Tiger is weak to Ice, so it's really good to use that. We have X-Zone, so we want to make sure that we take out tools with X-Zone. Beautiful. Attacking Tiger Face, love it. Weight tricking, love it. Nice. So that was fine. You keyed up those two on a character or on an enemy that won't counter you, so you're perfectly fine. He's probably dead. No, not quite. Fantastic weight tricking. I'm just gonna keep saying it. Looking fantastic. Like, completely different from when you and I had our live mentoring session. So, really, really well done. Nice, and you know that you need to be out of your menu when 10 hits is going, because you can just charge up for it. My friend, so far this has been a textbook Kefka fight. A master class in efficient Kefka murder. Love to see it. Realm throwing things for 4K is also hysterical. She's got a hell of an arm on her. I do like that you're mostly just focusing on Shadow and Realm, because they're fast. So he should just be one more Illumina swing from death if he's not already dead. Nice. Yeah, I knew he was really close. That's fantastic. Like, I just keep my mouth shut for that whole thing. It's perfect. Yeah, no complaints on how you played that at all. Now the real question. Are you gonna count? We gonna do some counting today? Let's see. What's the Meteo situation gonna be? Mr. Dolwin. Ew, that sucks. That's no fun, but I think we have Cure 3 sitting around, so... Nice. So he's at full life still. Alright, so 7.5. Ooh, I hear you counting. Oh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. 13.5. 17, 18. Ooh, you kind of overqueued there. So you're at 25 and you're going to push him into Meteor right now. Don't do it. Oh, no, I'm so scared. Oh, I'm so scared. Oh, no. Oh, no, Phantom Strats are terrifying. Oh, I think you just got saved by the death. Oh. Oh, no. You're going to give me a heart attack. You're going to give me a heart attack. We want to be weight tricking since it is still letting him count up. Okay. All right. It's not the end of the world. Okay. All right. So, let's go back to the moment. So you're at 18 right here. Now, this is where we got to be a little careful because we don't want to push him past about 28,000. He's at 18 and we know that Ice 3 is hitting for like 6, right? So we can look at it. 7. So he was already at 18. So we got to think in our head like, all right, I've queued up Ice 3. We know it's going to say, even if I said 6,000, that's still, 24K. And then we also know that Shadow is hitting for like 9,000. So that's going to push him up to like 31, 32,000, which is in Meteo phase, right? So this is the phase where we want to be very slow and very methodical. We do not want to queue multiple characters if he's already pushing 20K. We just want to be able to do the math slowly if we have to avoid the Meteo craziness that occurs afterwards. So he's at about 24,000 right here, but you have already committed. You've committed to that Illumina swing, and there's nothing you can do about it right now. Let's talk about Phantom. Phantom, unfortunately, if you were to cast that, Phantom makes it to where you get hit 100% of the time with magic, and Meteo is magic. So if that Phantom went off before you got Meteo'd again, then everybody would have gotten hit with your next Meteo with a 100% accuracy. So Phantom is extremely risky and not advised to ever use on tier 3 until you are very sure about your counting. But since you committed to this, he's at about 31,000, which means you are now getting Meteo'd. So he's at like 31, 32,000, and it was, you got caught off guard. Every single time he attacks from this point on is going to be Meteo. When his ATB fills, it is Meteo 100% of the time. Every time you hit him, it can be Meteo or train or an attack. Or nothing. Meteo, train, or nothing. So we know whenever his ATB is filled, that homeboy's gonna Meteo again. We are in really dire situation right here where your Realm is low life. Your Terra is fine, but Realm is low life and you got 2 dead characters. We need to be like, uh-oh, this is going to be hard to recover from when I'm just going to be getting Meteos to the face over and over. And that's where the Revivify trick comes in. So Revivifies, when you use them on a character that's not instant deathable, it will heal them for 1/8 of their life. Sleep has 40,000 life. 1/8 of that is 5,000. So when you use a Revivify on Sleep, it can bring him down by 5,000, which can get him out of Meteo phase. In this case, it would bring him from about 32,000 down to about 27,000, which, there you go. He's no longer going to be Meteoing you, and you can just take a moment to get your characters up, get yourself nice and healed, get your counting back on track, set your calmness protection up, and then finish him off. But since there wasn't much weight tricking happening during your life 3s, his ATB just like filled back up again. And then you got Meteo'd again. Thankfully, you had Life 3 up. I know I like made comments about Life 3 earlier, but like it really worked. And then like a bit of a desperation move to just attack with Shadow and finish it. But there were ways to do it in a safer manner, like what was mentioned earlier. But at the end of a day, a win is a win. We got through it.
Not the worst thing that could have happened.
Yeah, we got through it. We have a Mega Elixir, we have healing, we have ways to do damage, we got a lot of shields that we're not even using. So we got ways to crack shields. We have plenty of tools to get through this guy. I don't 100% think that we can get through Fallen One, but we might. Who's coming in? Is it Gogo? It's Sabin. Probably not. So we'll see. If everybody does 10k, or if Shadow procs, you can get through it. They're in your inventory. So you will get Fallen One, but that's okay because you have a Mega Elixir. All right, so he's in counter phase. He's at about 9, 18. He's at about 30,000. Okay, about 39. So we're not weight tricking, which is not good. So we wanted to have a character weight tricking. Sabin is going to be pointless. Oh, okay. Well, it went through just fine. You were able to push him through with those flame shields. I was a little worried that he would get Goner off, and then you would open yourself up to a potential counterattack if you don't kill him right after Goner. But it all worked out in the end. So, yeah, that Kefka was fantastic, all things considered. You have the right frame of mind on how to do everything. My biggest thing is, like, slow down on tier 3. It's okay to take another 5 or 10 seconds to think it over, so you don't have to take another minute and a half recovering from the absolute chaos that can occur, right? So I think that went fantastic. Your tier 1 and tier 2 were absolutely picture perfect. Your final Kefka was fine. I think it's just like as menuing gets a little bit faster, you'll be able to get through Fallen 1 a little bit faster, but you knew that you had a Mega Elixir, so who cares if you get Fallen 1 when you can heal through it? I guess a couple things that we can sort of talk about in terms of ways to get a little bit faster is like, it looks like you didn't really consider the Coliseum at all. So it's always good to just go to the Coliseum, just check it out, see what we have available, you know? Maybe there was something there, maybe there wasn't, but at least we could check it. We could have maybe gotten some weapons a little bit earlier. You also did not really do the Opera House Dragon, which is just a quick and easy dragon to learn some spells. So like early on, you had some things that you maybe could have learned a little quicker, like Meteor or Ice 3 or something, where you could go to that Opera House Dragon at any point in the game and just learn some spells really fast. And that's just a really good way to learn spells quickly. Couple things that we can sort of consider overall is, I'm going to turn on some music. It's too quiet for me. There we go. So airship piloting. So we can definitely look into airship piloting. Just sort of lining up a little faster, remembering that R1, if you hold that down, or I guess it's just R because we're talking about Super Nintendo. If you hold down R and turn, it's a sharp turn. If you hold X and move, it's a strafe. Being able to line your airship up to where you're trying to go and just being able to quickly make a little micro adjustment to put yourself right in front of the target so you don't have to walk very far, if at all. We hope we just walk one step and go into the place. The better we can do with that, the happier we are. Routing in general was looking pretty solid. At the end, it was some of the decisions were a little bit interesting. So going to do Mog as opposed to doing your dragons was definitely like something that probably most people wouldn't do, just because the chances of it being anything is pretty low, and the trip is pretty long, and Kefka and Arsh is pretty long as well. Most wouldn't have done it at the amount of checks you were at, which I think was like 16. Most would have probably just been like, all right, well, I got to make do with what I got, which is going to be just checking the dragons, maybe doing a double run of the tower. I can say, though, that because of that path that you took, you did kill that dragon that gave you an Illumina, which was pretty huge. That Illumina really set you off. Not 100% sure if maybe there was an Illumina at any of the other dragons, or a Ragnarok for that matter. There could have been faster ways to get that offense, or maybe not. You also might have considered just doing the middle 2 bosses just for experience. That could have been a thing as well. It's hard to say, but in this case, it worked out. That one dragon that you did gave you what you needed. So that was really good. But overall, probably I would have checked the faster high tier item pools as opposed to, you know, the stuff that you might get at Mog, or the potential of getting something at Kefka and Narsh, or Moogle Defense for that matter. The other thing, you had some spells that you didn't prioritize much, like Merton. That's something I probably would have just had on somebody, just to have it available in case I were to find any shields, which you did eventually, and that could help you just absolutely truck tier 2. But you truck tier 2 anyway, so it's not a big deal. It all worked out in the end again, but it's good to have that extra utility. But all things considered, I mean, I saw that you were thinking ahead on most of your checks, so you knew where you wanted to go, and you kind of followed through. I saw that your weight tricking has improved immensely. Using the proper characters has gotten way better as well. So you use the characters going to do the most damage as opposed to just smacking for 100 damage with useless potatoes. So I definitely respect the gains on that one big time. This was a rough seed early on to where you really had to prioritize certain things in order to get through it and see like where the strength was in order to do it quickly. But I think you did really well. And I love to see the improvement. So if you have any questions about this VOD review, just let me know. Shoot me a message. You know I'm always available to answer whatever you got. I'm more than willing to do so, and I look forward to seeing how good you get with some future runs, man. So hope you have a great rest of your weekend, and I will catch you later. Take it easy. See ya.